Hello, thanks for joining me. I'm at London Charing Cross station. I'm about to catch this train here, this class 375. We're going to travel down south and I'm going to go to somewhere you haven't been able to travel to by train for 60 years. There we are on the train. I do really like this layout of seating, the 4+4 with a table, and the seats line perfectly up with the window. I wish all trains were like this. Anyway, so I said we're going somewhere you haven't been able to travel to by train for 60 years. You're probably thinking, well, where's that going to be? Well, the answer is Heathfield station or town on the Cuckoo Line. The Cuckoo Line, the top half of the Cuckoo Line closed 60 years ago. The bottom half of the Cuckoo Line from Hailsham to Polegate lasted a few years longer, and we recently visited Hailsham as part of my largest town in the county without a railway station, because Hailsham is the largest town in East Sussex without a railway station. I'm not going to go to Hailsham today. We'll be further up the Cuckoo Line. What's happening is the Spa Valley Railway, the nearest heritage railway to the former Cuckoo Line, is holding a Cuckoo Line Gala today, which I think is a really nice idea, 60 years after the railway closed. But to make things a little bit more exciting, they're going to run a vintage bus from Tunbridge Wells to Heathfield, and when we get to Heathfield, we're going to be able to walk through the tunnel. They're having an open day. We're going to be able to walk through Heathfield Tunnel on the Cuckoo Line, so obviously for someone like me, it's a very exciting thing. So I'm going to travel now down to Tunbridge Wells, and when we get to Tunbridge Wells, we shall be catching a bus. Be interested to see what sort of bus it is, and we'll probably see some trains on the Spa Valley Railway. Trains just like they used to run on the Cuckoo Line. Here we are, we're at Tunbridge Wells. I've now got to walk across the town to Tunbridge Wells West, where for once I'm not going to be getting on a train, I'm going to be getting on a bus, and that is going to take us to Heathfield. There we are, I've arrived on shed at Tunbridge Wells West. We have a class 4 MT carrying the number 8014. Now that is one of the scrapped classmates which would have run over the line. You can see on the front it says farewell to Steve on the Cuckoo Line, so that's all for the Cuckoo Line Gala. But in order to get to Heathfield, for once, as I said, back at Tunbridge Wells Station, we're here at Tunbridge Wells West Station. We're not actually here to catch a train just yet. We're going to find a vintage bus or a bus of some description that is going to take us to Heathfield, and then we're going to go and see the tunnel, and then after that we're going to come back here and enjoy the rest of the Gala. That was great to see one of the Cuckoo Line inspired trains for the final days as Cuckoo Line arrive. I'm going to be catching a bus in a moment, not this bus, although it's got a steam loco on it, so that's quite cool. That's the old Tunbridge Wells West Station, which is now a restaurant. The railway used to run along here where Sainsbury's is, through a tunnel and join up with what is the Hastings Line. We're not really doing a history on Spa Valley Railway today. They're just holding, as I mentioned earlier, the Cuckoo Line Gala. However, over here, look, we have a few interesting buses. I don't know which one I'm catching, possibly that one because it's at the front, but I'm going to go and stand at the Sainsbury's bus stops, which funny enough would have actually been, if you look where the bus stop is, would have been roughly where some of the platforms were. So I'm going to catch a bus to Heathfield where you could have once caught a train towards Heathfield. Just got to wait now for the bus to arrive, off we go to Heathfield. bus has arrived at Heathfield. This is Heathfield's town centre, and it does feel like one of those slightly larger places that doesn't have a railway station. As I said, it's not the largest town in East Sussex without a railway station, because that's Hailsham, but it is on the Cuckoo Line. We were there a couple of weeks ago. What I'm going to do now, I'm probably going to go and get myself a coffee, and then I'm going to find my way to the whole reason of making this video. Let's go and find Heathfield Tunnel. I've walked down the hill from the town centre. Town centre's up there, and here is the old railway station. You think it looks familiar. If you've been to the Blueborough Railway, you will have seen railway station buildings in a similar style, because it was all built by the same company. The one different thing is here, the station building is here. You'd have gone down there. That is the old track bed, and that's where the station was. So you can see it's now an industrial estate. So the site of the old station there, and just let you have a look. So that is looking down. The Cuckoo Trail starts beyond there, and you can follow it all the way down through Hailsham, well, it was the other day, right down to Polegate. But if we look on this side, so we've got the station building just there, which is now a coffee shop. So I might go in there and get a coffee, and it would certainly be good if you've walked up the Cuckoo Trail or cycled up the Cuckoo Trail, you'll be able to go in there and get a coffee. And we look that way, down there, there's the tunnel. There's a bit of a queue, so I might, I don't know, it's a good idea to get myself a coffee first, and the queue might go down, or I'll go and join the queue and see what happens. But we're going to go down there, I'm going to join that queue, and we're going to go and have a look inside the tunnel. Well, here we are. This is the event I've travelled all this way to see. That's a look of what we're about to see once we get inside the tunnel. I'm literally standing here at the gates to the tunnel, so these gates would normally be closed and locked in a minute when we go into the gloom of the tunnel. And if I just turn around there, so that's where you pay to go in. See, I've got my gold wristband on. I haven't got it on very well, I know. I've got it on. The railway station is up there behind me, and that's the road bridge I was on a moment ago. So we're going to go inside, as I said, to have a look through, see how, I don't know how far we're going to get, to be honest, so we'll find that out quite soon. The tunnel opens in 1880 when they opened this part of the railway, and it closed with this northern section of the line on the 14th of June 1965. The day of filming is the 15th of June 2025, so it closed 60 years ago and one day. And 60 years ago and one day we're able to walk through the tunnel. Okay, it's not on the train, but it's really quite exciting that we can walk through the tunnel. I'm quite excited about this. The section south of Hailsham did last a bit longer, as we saw in my Hailsham video. Anyway, I think we need to go inside. Let's see what's in here. Just funny, as you walk into a tunnel, just seeing all these people coming towards you. It's dark and wet, and yeah, lots of people coming towards me. No track, no trains. I'm excited to go a bit further. I did bring a jacket with me, because although it is quite a hot day, being June, it's going to be a bit colder in here. I can just see the tunnel curves. I believe it's 265 yards long. It curves around, and I can see light, I think daylight at the other end. It might actually be other lights. One other thing we can look at, oh yeah, it would have been probably two track. You can just see here an arco where you could have stood should a train be coming, and you know, you're a ganger working in the tunnel. And then that way, that is looking out. Oh, looks like just bright light, and I'm looking really silhouetted here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue down into the gloom of the tunnel and see what else we can find, really. I'm about midway in the tunnel. There's a bit of a dark bit there, and then you may have heard that generator at the entrance. That's powering all these lights. I don't think I've ever seen that many people taking selfies in a tunnel. Well, probably the last time I saw this many people taking selfies underground was the day the Elizabeth line opened. An interesting bit of slightly more modern architecture. This alcove has been bricked up. As you can see, you wouldn't really be able to stand in here, and the bricks are quite a lot newer. So that's quite interesting. This is where I can see, and there's lots of people making weird noises. I should have brought like a train whistle, like a steam loco's whistle. That would have made a few people jump. Maybe it's a ghost train. Anyway, we're about halfway, because I can see that's where I came from. So that's looking south towards Hailsham, and that way is looking north towards Erridge. Let's continue. Let's get to the other end of the tunnel. Well, I'm nearly at the other end. of the tunnel, 60 years and 1 day since it closed to passengers. There's been various bits of water coming through, and I've been dripped on a couple of times. It was quite funny. Someone brought a dog in here, the dog started barking and it really echoed in the tunnel. It's all quite exciting. As I say, that way now is looking back down towards Hailsham. We've nearly made it to the end of the tunnel, but we seem to be shut in, so I'm going to have to walk back through the tunnel. Let's just go to the end. I can see people beyond the gates on the other side, and they're probably looking at us like everyone in the tunnel, like we're a load of prisoners. See, look, it's firmly padlocked shut, but out there is the track bed. So, of course, being the sort of person I am, I want to try and find that end of the tunnel. So I'm going to have to go back through the tunnel, walk over the top of the hill and go down. We'll find this end of the tunnel, then we'll get the bus back to Tunbridge Wells, and I'll probably spend the day watching trains at the Cuckoo Line Gala. So, time for me to walk back through the tunnel. That was really, really exciting walking through the tunnel. I really enjoyed that. Feels a lot warmer now how I'm outside, even though it isn't actually that hot. It's just a typical summer's day, June temperature. But it feels really hot because it was nice and cool in there. So it was a great thing to do on a summer's day, to go into a tunnel. And it's one of those things, this gala, I think, will be remembered for years to come, because it just, you know, did something a little bit different. 60 years since the Cuckoo Line closed, they opened up the tunnel, they ran buses, and you could go through that tunnel. I think the only thing they could do to make it better would be to get a temporary miniature railway and run steam trains up and down. That really would be amazing, but you know, it was great what we've done. I did say though, when we were in the tunnel and we got to the other end, I wanted to see the northern portal. Now, you're probably wondering what I'm doing in car park. Well, the reason for that is I'm quite literally on top of the tunnel. Somewhere down there, you can't see it, but down there's people taking selfies and marvelling of the tunnel. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and try and find the other end, and we're going to see what will probably look like people trapped in a tunnel, probably what I looked like a moment ago. Oh, this is interesting. I've never been down it before, by the way, so I don't really know where I'm going, but it's like an arch. It says the Millennium Archway. That's quite cool. It's like a tunnel, but that's not the archway we're looking for. Here's a silhouette of a steam loco. Oh, I think I can see what I might be looking for. Just the question is how to get down to it. Going down here. This looks like an exciting walk in itself. So I believe this isn't the Cuckoo Trail north of here. And I don't think there's a direct route you can walk along the old railway from here to Eridge. Bits of it are on private land. But it's something maybe I could do. I think definitely I'm going to do a video exploring the rest of the Cuckoo Trail down to Polegate. That's something I would really like to do. I think exploring the road north of here, it's doable, but it's a little bit more complicated because, as I say, I don't think it's footpath all the way through. What I seem to have found though is the end of the tunnel. That's the parapet of the end of the tunnel. So you can just imagine steam trains bursting out there. You know, like that one we saw this morning at Tunbridge Wells West. Imagine that bursting out there or coming towards us, heading down south. I need to find my way down there, which admittedly I haven't got a clue. There's various paths, so I'm going to go and find my way down there. Let's have a look at the northern portal of the tunnel. This sounds a bit strange. I can hear the sound of lots of people talking, but I can't see anyone. That's because they're all in the tunnel. So I've just walked along there. I'm actually in the cutting. I think they've filled this area in a bit, and it's a little bit muddy, but that's all part of the fun. And I can just see through there the end of the tunnel. So what we're going to do what we're going to do is get around this really muddy bit. Admittedly, I should have perhaps worn more substantial shoes, but anyway. You live and learn. Let's get across here. Right, so I've gone around this really muddy bit. Look at this. This is like all these people that are trapped inside a tunnel. It looks like they're in prison in a tunnel. They're all looking like they all want to come out, but if they want to come out and get to here, they've got to go back through the tunnel because there's no way. I don't have a key. I can't let you out. Sorry. It's always people looking. Look, they all look like they're in prison. They look quite happy, I have to say, to be in prison. But this is probably one of the strangest sights I've ever seen when exploring an old railway. So there's always people in the tunnel in there, and that's the chatter you can hear, and you can see the whole tunnel. And just imagine a train bursting out of here, you know, heading up towards Eridge and potentially along what was the Spa Valley Railway. And there was a whole web of railway lines around this area. It's a shame they've all closed. It'd be nice to think one day, I don't know if this line would ever reopen, possibly to Hailsham, maybe on to Heathfield. If you want to know what my thoughts are on reopening parts of the Cuckoo Line, you'll have to watch my Hailsham video. I discussed my, what might sound quite radical plans, but I did discuss my ideas for reopening the railway at the end of the video. Well, time will tell whether it reopens. I don't think I probably will ever travel through the London train, not unless they lay a miniature railway, but never say never. I think what I'm going to do now, having satisfied myself that all that chatter was nothing sinister, because it did sound really sort of weird and eerie, I'm going to sit on one of these benches, have my lunch, and then I'm going to go and get the bus back to Tunbridge Wells and enjoy watching the Cuckoo Line Gala, seeing trains that would have passed along here over 60 years ago, and that will be on a separate video. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to the Spa Valley Railway for putting on an event that was just a little bit different and very, very enjoyable. The tunnel's behind there somewhere, so thank you very much. Please do feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe from the Cuckoo Line, just north of Heathfield, sorry, not Heathfield, Heathfield Tunnel. Goodbye.